The protagonist of this manhwa is one of the most ordinary-looking people you'll ever see, and he works at a logistics center to make a living. Kim Jong-yum kinda hates his job, and you'll soon find out why. When he tries to strike up a casual chat with the robot next to him, the tin can just ignores him and gets straight to work. And that's exactly why he dislikes being here. You see, the entire logistics center is filled with technologically advanced AI robots that handle most of the manual labor. Jong-yum is the one overseeing everything, but there's not a single person to talk to. He sometimes feels pretty down, missing the warmth of human interaction, and occasionally wonders if he's ended up in the wrong place. This all started about 2 months ago, right after he was discharged from the military, and that's when his streak of bad luck began. The first major setback was that his parents moved to Uijeongbu. As a consolation gift for his discharge, they paid the deposit and 6 months' rent for his studio apartment, leaving him to live alone near his old school. Thus began his forced solitary life. Although he was financially stable thanks to government support and the rent coverage from his parents, he decided to take his time looking for a job. With no rush, he hoped to find the best opportunity. But things didn't go as planned, and he faced rejection after rejection before even getting the chance to prove himself. After a month of job hunting, he was going stir-crazy from extreme boredom. One day, while killing time, he ended up venting to his sister about their pathetic brother who couldn't even land a job. Naturally, his sister had a field day trolling him. And during their chat, he heard about delivery companies using AI robots to make work easier, and a lot of people were working as operators in these companies. His interest was piqued, and that's how he ended up in this dump of a place where there's literally no one to talk to. Just as I'm saying this, we hear another person calling out to him. This man looks quite grumpy and unpleasant at first glance. It wouldn't be surprising if he were the manager, as he fits the role perfectly. Anyway, the senior informs his junior that they're out of tuna stock, even though the system still says there's some left. He tells our boy to check the warehouse for any missing stock. Of course, Jong-yum complies with a fake smile plastered on his face. Let's be honest, Jong-yum finds those robots way more warmer than his cold-as-shit senior. Anyway, once Kim heads into the warehouse, the door behind him starts to close. He quickly begins searching for the tuna his senior mentioned. After rummaging around, he spots the stock, climbs up a riser, and grabs it. Just then, he hears a loud thud of the door to the warehouse slamming shut. He tries turning the doorknob, but it's stuck. He calls his manager, Shin, but there's no answer. The thought of calling 911 crosses his mind, but he decides against it, because he's not stuck in a freezing freezer, so it wouldn't be worth the hassle. Instead, he takes a selfie and sends it to his sisters, letting them know he's trapped in the warehouse. At first, she teases him about his situation, but then she suddenly says she just heard a building collapsing outside her house. Of course, the brother gets worried about his sister and quickly calls her phone number. When she picks up, she doesn't say anything, and he wonders if she's just pulling a prank. But just as he's thinking that, the entire warehouse starts to shake, and the emergency alarm blares. The place descends into chaos, and he hears announcements telling everyone to evacuate quickly. Stuck in the warehouse with no idea what's happening outside, he starts banging on the main door with his empty fists, but his frantic pounding gets no response. Desperate, he decides to call 911, only to find that the cellular signal is down. He's seriously losing his mind now, and the thought that there might be a full-blown war going on outside is freaking him out. Suddenly, he notices something pounding on the main gate from the outside, each impact leaving a giant dent in the massive steel door as if it were nothing but a cardboard cutout. His hands tremble as he pulls it back from the doorknob, instinctively knowing that shit is going haywire outside, and if he makes a single sound, he's certain he's done for. Sweating profusely, he collapses to his knees, and thankfully, the pounding on the gate eventually stops. However, the commotion and screams outside are still loud enough to terrify him. 3 days pass since that unfortunate day, and he's still stuck inside the warehouse, surviving on the available food. Since no one has come looking for him, he's convinced that something major must have happened outside. He wonders if there's a war going on, and by now, he's almost relieved to be stuck in here, thinking he might have been a goner if he had been outside. The alarm that used to blare constantly has been silent since yesterday, which is a relief. At least he can sleep now. But he's unsure how much longer he can hold out, especially with his battery running low, and this might be his last note to the outside world. He's praying that a soldier or someone from his country finds him soon and keeps the family safe. Just when he thought things couldn't get crazier, a system window pops up in front of him, telling him he's been chosen and to check his awakened abilities. At first, Jong-yum thinks he might be hallucinating, but then another window appears, saying he has acquired his own personal subspace for storing objects. He starts to wonder if there was some kind of cocaine in the tuna cans he's been eating for the past 3 days. Another digital notification pops up, saying that the target has been designated and asking if he wants to store it. Without hesitation, he confirms, and suddenly he begins to fall, landing hard on his butt on solid ground outside. He scrambles to his feet and looks around, only to see rubble and debris everywhere, and everything is in total destruction. He spots his senior lying dead on the ground. While the system windows keep on flashing, our boy is busy puking his guts out after seeing his senior's lifeless body. The system then states that a suitable operating system for him has been found, and it's currently being installed. Suddenly he hears footsteps approaching from behind, and there is a huge shadow cast by a figure behind him, and he is pretty darn sure that this shadow is not of a human. As the camera pans out, we see an orc-like monster with sharp fangs and a giant blood-soaked body. Jongyum sweats profusely as he tries to calm himself, desperately hoping his fears aren't true. He tries to stay optimistic, convincing himself that the loud roar he heard 3 days back might be from a gorilla or a bear. But he doesn't dare look back at the thing behind him, and instead bolts as fast as he can, running for his life. His panic reaches new heights as he realizes there's a literal monster hunting him down. He runs frantically, even stepping on someone's innards in this wild dash. He has no idea why there's an orc-like creature here, or why it's so determined to catch him. But he knows one thing for sure. If he doesn't escape soon, he's going to get caught. Suddenly, the system window pops up, announcing that synchronization is complete and asking if he would like to enter the subspace. With no hesitation, Jongyum quickly says yes. After all, the monster is almost upon him. Just as the creature's hand swings at him, he jumps into the portal. While he is finally safe on the other side of the portal, the monster is stuck on the other side of the portal and could do nothing other than groan in frustration. Jongyum gets confused and wonders why the monster can't enter this place. A hovering drone confirms that nothing can enter his subspace without his permission, because he is the master of it. The drone explains that the subspace is entirely under his control. Jongyum is stunned to see the drone talking to him, and he has a strange sense of déjà vu. When he looks around, he finds himself back in the PAX's fulfillment center warehouse, but this time it's part of his new subspace. The entire place is filled with the same robots as before. The system announces that, since he's entered the subspace for the first time, he'll receive a reward for completing the tutorial, which is a 1-mana stone. The stone materializes in his hand, but before he can figure out what it is, the monster outside starts slamming against the portal. The noise startles him, and he almost forgets that he was being chased by a literal monster. He panics once again, and frantically asks the system if he's really sure the monsters can't get inside. The system confirms that nothing can enter the subspace without his permission. The system window flashes once again, stating that the PAX Fulfillment Center is a 5-story building with a total floor area of 10,000 pyong, approximately 33,000 square meters. It holds every product needed to improve the lives of customers. The current shipping speed is 60 kilometers per hour, and it can handle 1 shipment at a time with the shipping size limit of 2 meters. Jongyum is just as clueless as all of us about what this information even entails. The system then further confuses him by revealing that there are only 2 minutes left until maintenance. Confused, Jongyum asks if the logistics center will shut down after 2 minutes. The drone confirms this and explains that he can use the mana stone in order to supply energy and maintain the facilities in the subspace. Since he currently has 1 mana stone, it can power the entire facility for the next 24 hours.